All right, welcome back, y'all. So I got two stories for you that are going to have you talking. And I mean talking. Let's start with this first one. There's this young woman, about 27 years old, and she signs up on a dating app. She matches with this dude who's claiming he's a billionaire. They hit it off, agree to link up, and he comes through to her place for the night. The next morning, she's found dead. And here's the part that's going to blow your mind. This so-called billionaire was never arrested. I'm not going to say too much more right now. I'm going to let y'all watch the full story and draw your own conclusions. Make sure you drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what y'all think about this one. Check it out.
Begin this hour with the story of a 23-year-old young woman from Bridgeport, Connecticut, who died. She was healthy, but then was found dead.
No one is going to discard Lauren Smithfield's my daughter as she's rubbish.
In Bridgeport, Connecticut, a 23-year-old woman is found dead in her apartment. The night before her tragic death, this young woman had been on a date at her apartment with a 37-year-old man she met on a dating app. One of the things she asked him to bring was a bottle of tequila, which was later found to contain harmful substances that ultimately led to her untimely death.
Life is not the same. I don't know who I'm gonna be after this. It's killing me inside. I miss my baby.
This heartbreaking story of Lauren Smithfield's death, one of the most shocking and disturbing cases, leaving many questions unanswered and her loved ones searching for justice.
Without a doubt, we know that my daughter was not a drug user, and I had a second autopsy myself, paid out of pocket, because we felt so uncomfortable with the way it was handled.
Lauren Smith Fields entered the world on January 23, 1998, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, as the daughter of Chantel Fields and Everett Smith. From her earliest years, Lauren was known for her intelligence and determination, earning the deep affection of her family. She was raised in a nurturing household, supported by her three brothers, Kyle Fields, Lakeem Jeter, and Tavar Gray. This strong family bond played a significant role in molding Lauren into the compassionate and motivated individual she became. Lauren was a bright student who was well-liked by her teachers and friends. She started at Still Meadow Elementary School and then moved on to Rippewam Middle School in Stamford. She did well in her classes and made many friends because she was friendly and easy to talk to. Lauren was always full of energy and loved to help others. When she reached high school, her skills and interests became even clearer. She joined the National Honor Society because of her good grades. She also became a part of the Black Student Union to learn more about her culture. And it is from this that Lauren developed another passion. From a young age, Lauren had love for nice things and a fancy lifestyle. She developed a passion for travel and embraced a lavish way of living.
I'm literally sweating, and I'm not doing anything.
A quick scroll through her Instagram, you'll see her jetting between countries, driven purely by her love of adventure and enjoyment. So, at age 23, Lauren tried online dating and made a profile on Bumble, popular app with over 50 million users. Most people on the app are 25 to 34 years old, and a small number are 55 to 64. Now, on December 8, 2021, she matched with Matthew LaFontaine, a 37-year-old man from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and they liked each other instantly because they both enjoyed traveling, trying new foods, and spending time with family. Their shared love of traveling was alleged to be the main reason they connected so quickly during their time talking on the app. In fact, Lauren had been in countries like London and Italy, among others, before meeting her tragic death. Her date partner Matthew also seemed to share this passion. In this viral photo of him, he's seen wearing what looks like a hiking backpack, which further shows how much they both loved adventures and seeing the world. Lauren Smith Fields was excited about starting a new relationship with Matthew LaFountain, who seemed like a nice and respectful man. In fact, Lauren called her brother very excited in a call that ended abruptly. She was happy to meet him in person for the first time and see what could happen between them. Sadly, she did not know that their Bumble date would be the last time she went anywhere, or the last time her family would see her alive. On the night of December 11, 2021, 23-year-old Lauren met up with 37-year-old Matthew for their date at this apartment in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And that same night was the last time her mother had heard from her. She sent messages and made phone calls, but there was no reply. Feeling worried, she decided to go to her daughter's apartment, hoping that everything was fine. When she got there, she found a note on the door that read, "If you are looking for Lauren, please call this number." The number was written on the note. With a heavy heart, she calls the number, fearing the worst. That's when she receives the terrible news: her daughter is dead. The person on the line told her that a detective would come to see her soon.
They say the detective promised to come by the apartment.
Never showed up.
The family says the relationship with police devolved from there.
However, she waits for what feels like a very long time. When she finally calls again, hoping for more information, they tell her to stop calling and abruptly hang up, leaving her in shock and deep pain. Do you know who was on the other end of the call? It was Lauren's landlord. This landlord had been called by the police to provide a statement after someone reported a dead young woman in one of her apartments, and the person who called police was 37-year-old Matthew LaFountain, Lauren's last date partner. In his statement, LaFountain recalled that he chatted with Lauren on a dating app and that they agreed to meet in the evening at her apartment around 9:30 p.m. He explained that Lauren had asked him for $40 to cover the cost of getting her nails done and invited him to bring a bottle of tequila, which he agreed to do. Once there, they drank the tequila, played games, ate snacks, and eventually relaxed to watch a movie together for a while. However, as the night went on, the mood shifted and things began to spiral in a disturbing and unexpected direction. She suddenly said she needed to go to the bathroom, where LaFountain could hear her getting sick. After a while, she went outside, saying she needed to grab something from her brother. When she came back, she went straight to the bathroom again for about 10 to 15 minutes before finally returning to watch the movie. LaFountain said he thought this was strange, but he didn't feel it was right to ask her about it, since they had only just met. As the movie went on, Smith Fields fell asleep. LaFountain said he gently picked her up and took her to the bedroom, where he lay down next to her, with him sleeping on the other side of the bed. A few hours later, around 3 a.m., he got up to use the bathroom and heard her snoring, a sound that made him feel reassured that everything was okay. But by 6:30 a.m., everything changed. According to LaFountain, he woke up to find her lying still and not breathing, with blood coming from her right nostril. In a panic, he called for help and dialed 911. The operator told him to do CPR as paramedics get dispatched. But even with his efforts, Lauren did not wake up. When the paramedics arrived, they said Lauren was dead at the scene, and the only thing they could do was to take the body away with them. Matthew was described as being in shock, visibly shaken and upset about what had happened. Later, the medical examiner said that Lauren had died from an accidental overdose from a mix of fentanyl, alcohol, and prescription drugs.
The I-team obtained this police report of the response to a 911 call from Lauren's apartment on the morning of December 12th from a white male identified as Matthew LaFountain. The investigator notes he was trembling and visibly shaken. LaFountain said they met on the dating site Bumble, began drinking shots of tequila, and Lauren became ill. That later they played some games, ate some food, and started to watch a movie. He says he carried her to her bedroom and laid her in her bed. He then laid down next to her and fell asleep. He woke up again at approximately 06:30 hours, and she was laying on her right side. Blood was coming out of her right nostril onto the bed, and she was not breathing.
After uncovering these details, police started questioning Matthew, but not in the aggressive or formal way that's typical for standard police interrogations for a case involving a death. Instead, they approached him gently and informally at first, perhaps to avoid intimidating him or making him defensive, while still gathering important information to piece together what happened that night. One might think that the fact Matthew denied having sex with her, while the investigation found otherwise, would make them suspect him in her death. However, the investigators showed little interest in that. But that wasn't the saddest part. Until then, Lauren's family had no idea what happened to their daughter, and the investigators didn't even bother to contact her family, and so this is the point when Lauren's mother came to look for her daughter at her apartment, finding a note left by landlord who she called and break the sad news to her, telling her that her daughter was dead and that she needed to wait for the police to arrive. So the mother waited, and no one came to clear the suspense and shock she had just been thrown into. So she goes back home, and together with Lauren's other brothers, they contacted the landlord again, who finally allowed them access into the apartment. And it is inside Lauren's family noticed things that the police had overlooked. Empty liquor cups, condom, tipped over plates, and a blood stain on the bed.
The family says they provided evidence they'd collected to crime scene investigators who arrived for the first time that day, included a sheet and a pill.
And 2 cups of like drinks or whatever next to a bottle. They didn't take none of that. We seen a condom, we seen lube, other stuff in there, and they didn't take none of this.
All things that seemed to be ignored as if they were not important. Weeks later, while the family was cleaning out the apartment, they found a used condom and a pill in the trash, clear evidence that the police had completely ignored. These items were obvious clues that investigators hadn't bothered to collect or document, even though they could have been critical to understanding what happened. Lauren's family was angry and heartbroken by the medical examiner's report. They felt the police had rushed the investigation and failed to dig deeper into Matthew LaFountain's role, even though he was the last person to see Lauren alive. They believed the police didn't take her death seriously enough, treating it like a minor case instead of a tragic loss. The family decided to fight back. They started posting online, sharing their anger and disappointment with the Bridgeport. Lauren's second brother, Jeter, shared what happened on the night of December 11th when he called her to bring out his basket of clothes he was picking up. He said he didn't know anyone else was there. She came out and stayed outside for about 10 to 15 minutes before going back inside. He said she looked fine. She didn't look sick, tired, or drunk. He also said that unlike what LaFont claimed, her nails had already been done and didn't need to be done again, especially not for her funeral.
They didn't even contact us, they didn't let us know anything. It's like crazy. And I'm asking him what's going on. He said she met some guy on Bumble, and I'm asking him about the guy. He was like, oh, he sounds like a really nice guy. He sounds like a really good guy. And he was like, I'll call you back, and just hung up in my face.
Now, Lauren's mother had to plan her own daughter's funeral just days before Christmas. It was obvious how much pain and sadness this caused her. The family also chose to sue the police department, claiming they did not conduct a proper investigation and that their civil rights were violated.
The whole day goes by, no police reach out to the family at all.
Her close-knit family says they went to the apartment the next day after frantically calling and texting Lauren and were referred to a Detective Cronin. They say the detective promised to come by the apartment.
Never showed up.
The family says the relationship with police devolved from there. No contact from December 13th until December 29th. They returned to the apartment to clear out Lauren's belongings and claim a new detective came by to say he'd taken over the case from Detective Cronin.
The detective said he effed up, he messed up, he effed Cronin, he messed up, he didn't know what he was doing, he messed up the case.
The family says they provided evidence they'd collected to crime scene investigators who arrived for the first time that day. Sources close to the investigation tell the I-Team the Matthew LaFountain pictured in this social media photo, now removed, was the man at Lauren's apartment. A neighbor at his listed address in Milford confirmed LaFountain's identity, but we were unable to reach the 37-year-old who has not been accused of any wrongdoing. LaFountain's same image appeared under the name Matthew Thomas, now also taken down.
Anyone that genuinely cared and they were there, the last person there, and they know that nothing bad happened, you would at least even reach out to the family yourself. Like, listen, I know I'm sorry for your loss of your daughter or your sister.
The family's last contact with police was on January 4th at headquarters with their attorney.
What I believe is that The police failed to collect and preserve that environment from the first day.
The attorney has now filed a notice of claim to sue Bridgeport for negligence, claiming key evidence was not initially submitted to the state lab.
I feel like because he's a white guy and she's a black girl, it's just almost like they just thrown it under the rug.
That night she was silenced, so now we are her voice. But we're here and we're fighting for her.
So, to help their fight for justice, the Smithfields family launched a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for hiring a private investigator. They understood the path forward would be tough because they didn't trust the official investigation, but they refused to give up until they found out what really happened to Lauren.
Now, Smithfield's family have taken the initial steps to sue the city of Bridgeport and the police department. They allege that the Bridgeport Police Department failed to implement the proper crime scene investigation team to collect physical evidence, and that the city has failed to intervene.
Their lawyer, Darnell Crossland, stated that cases of missing white women often receive more attention and resources than those of black women.
The family says the man is the last known person to see Lauren alive. Police say he's not a suspect or a person of interest, and that they do not suspect foul play.
We want all the people of Bridgeport to be treated fairly and equally under the law. That didn't happen here, and everyone listening to the story needs to know that Lauren Smith Fields wasn't given the treatment that she should have been given.
The family felt overlooked and disrespected throughout the entire process, but they were not alone. This case got a lot of attention, so much that even celebrities like Cardi B wanted to speak out about the unfair treatment this family faced. After learning about Smithfield's death, Cardi B took to Twitter on January 23, 2022 with a strong message. She was upset about how the media was showing the situation, making it seem like Smithfields was with an older man. Cardi B tweeted, "Nah, this man doesn't look old." And yet the media made it seem like she was with an old man looking to take advantage of her, criticizing the wrong story, and pointing out Connecticut's failure to act. Her strong words helped get the Bridgeport Police Department to reopen the investigation, which had first been treated as an accidental overdose in fact. Family lawyer Darnell Crossland said that it was Cardi's involvement that made the police finally take the case seriously. The family was very thankful for Cardi's support, knowing that her public statements were important in getting attention for the case and fighting for justice. Mayor Joe Ganim of Bridgeport, Connecticut, had to take action against two police officers, Angel Llanos and Kevin Cronin, by suspending them without pay. This was because they botched the investigations into the deaths of Lauren Smith Fields.
Developing tonight, two detectives suspended for their handling of the investigation into the death of Lauren Smith Fields. She's the college student from Bridgeport, Connecticut, who died after going on a date with someone she met on a dating app. For weeks, her family has questioned how the department has handled her investigation. And tonight, the mayor is blasting the probe and putting two officers on leave. And there are new questions about another woman who died under similar circumstances. News 4's Anjali Hemphill is in the newsroom with the major new developments tonight.
Gilma, tonight, the Bridgeport mayor made a public apology to the two victims' families and said both cases have now been reassigned to other members of the police department.
Once again, express my condolences to the families of Lauren Smithfields and of Brenda Lee Rawls. And I want you to know that I am extremely disappointed with the leadership of the Bridgeport Police Department and have found the actions taken up to this point with regards to these two investigations unacceptable. After viewing these matters even more closely, and in the absence of the police chief, I've directed the deputy chief, Chief Baraha, to immediately put on administrative leave the two officers who are the subject of the Bridgeport Police Internal Affairs investigation for lack of sensitivity to the public, for failure to follow police policy in the handling of these two matters. So to be clear, effective immediately, both Detective Llanos and Detective Cronin are suspended from duties and put on administrative leave until such time as the Office of OIA has finished their investigation and disciplinary cases have been completed. In addition, the supervising officer who was in charge of overseeing these matters, has retired from the department this past Friday.
The community, family, and friends still wanted to know what happened that night, and so set up public marches and demonstrations to remember Lauren and keep pressure on the authorities. On what would have been her 24th birthday, they held a march in Bridgeport.
couple weeks, many have called the investigation into the cause of death of Lauren Smith Fields as mishandled and unprofessional. Demonstrators gathered to demand further action by city officials as well as justice for Lauren on what would have been her 24th birthday. Jorge was there.
On January 23, 2022, a group of more than 300 people gathered outside of Bridgeport Police Headquarters to demand justice for Lauren Smith Fields, as they believe the investigation into Lauren's death left several unanswered questions.
One of the questions? Well, Lauren's family says Bridgeport police didn't consider the man that last saw her alive as a suspect because they say police told them he seemed like a nice guy.
If his family didn't want to serve in the police department, would he be a nice guy? We're gonna make him famous too. We're gonna make the nice guy famous.
Lauren was reported deceased in her Bridgeport apartment by the man she met 3 days earlier on a dating app. Along with concerns on how the man allegedly was left unquestioned, Lauren's family is also calling out the Bridgeport Police Department due to unprofessionalism they experienced as they were not notified of Lauren's death until 2 days later.
So, on what would have been her 24th birthday, the group of family, friends, and supporters began to walk from the Bridgeport Police Headquarters and ended at the plaza of the Margaret Morton Government Center.
The family didn't stop there. They worked for a new law called Lauren's Law, which would require police to tell a deceased person's family within 24 hours of identifying them. This law aims to help prevent other families from feeling the same pain and confusion that Lauren's family went through. Lauren Smith Fields' family is still searching for justice.
Always be her voice.
That's
right.
Talk that talk.
No one is going to discard my daughter like she's rubbish. She's
right.
not rubbish. She had a life. She had a business. She was in college.
Talk about it.
Family and friends that love her.
Amen.
No one is going to discard Lauren Smith Fields, my daughter, as she's rubbish.
They want the world to remember Lauren and to fight for a system that treats everyone with the respect and care they should have. Their journey isn't finished, but they are focused on keeping Lauren's memory alive and making the changes needed to help protect others. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Our condolences go out to Lauren Smith Fields.
Now this second story? Guys, okay, so there's this young woman, sweet girl, full of life, and she decides to go out to a bar one evening just to unwind, blow off some steam. While she's there, she meets this older dude and they start vibing. They end up leaving together and heading back to his place. Now here's the thing. This man is married, and he knows his wife's schedule like clockwork because she works long hours. So in his mind, he's thinking he's got time, right? He's calculated this whole thing out. But that night, his luck ran out. The wife came home early, completely unexpected, and she walks in on them in bed. Y'all want to know what she did? Man, I couldn't make this up if I tried. You gotta see this for yourself. Here's the full video.
Charlotte 911, do you need police, fire, or medic?
I need police. Somebody just been out of my house. I came home and I had a woman in my house and I pulled out my gun and I shot and she's not moving.
How old is she?
I have no idea. I don't even know the woman. She's inside my house in the hallway on the floor.
Is she flat on her back?
No, she's on her stomach. I can try to move her on her back. My husband told me don't touch her. Oh God, what did I do? What did I do?
On the morning of July 18, 2023, a married woman was stunned to find 25-year-old Tyra in bed with her 50-year-old husband. The sight was shocking, and her heart sank as she realized the betrayal happening in her own home. Tyra, the young woman caught in the act, insisted that she had simply been invited over and had no idea the man was married. Even Tyra's mother backed up this claim in a video.
Lured to a home and brutally beaten and murdered. She was invited there. She did not just pop up there. She was not an intruder. She was invited there.
However, the married woman was not interested in their excuses. What she did to Tyra at that moment marked a dramatic turning point in Tyra's life, forever. For you to truly grasp the dynamics of this crime story, it's essential to explore the backgrounds of the individuals involved, leading up to the moment their lives intersected. Tyra Shannell Crosby was born on August 28, 1997, making her 25 years old at the time of this shocking incident. She lived in Northwest Charlotte, North Carolina with her mother, Tanya Hoskins. Known for her infectious spirit and a heart full of dreams, Tyra was a bright light in the lives of those around her. Family and friends recalled her as lively and outgoing, always eager to embrace new experiences and make connections. However, little did she know that this same outgoing personality would unknowingly lead her into a complicated situation with a married man, setting the stage for a tragic and deadly outcome that would forever change her life. Despite her warm heart and dreams, Tyra faced personal struggles that led to several encounters with law enforcement. Her mother, Tanya, was a protective figure who often worried about Tyra's choices, particularly regarding the people she surrounded herself with. This concern foreshadowed the challenges Tyra would face as she navigated her life. Her legal troubles began in 2018 with charges of simple battery and assault. More serious charges followed in 2021, including assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill and discharging a firearm into an occupied property. This troubling pattern continued into 2022 and March 2023, involving charges for simple assault and communicating threats, revealing the tumultuous path her life had taken, overshadowing her vibrant spirit and hopes for a better future. Those closest to Tyra emphasized that she had been actively working to turn her life around despite her struggles, and maintained her caring and compassionate nature throughout her challenges. Like many girls her age, Tyra was searching for a stable relationship. However, due to her troubling past, she struggled to find someone who would accept her, even as she mingled with people of various backgrounds. This led her to navigate a single life and make personal decisions that often took her down the wrong paths. Despite these challenges, her resilience ultimately paid off when she met a man who completely transformed her life. Although this young man was not destined to save Tyra on that tragic day, he perfectly matched what she had been seeking, and they shared many wonderful moments together.
Who's the better cook? Who said, "I love you" first? Who takes longer to get ready in the morning? Who's the grumpier one in the morning? Who's more stubborn? Who's the bigger baby when sick? Who's the social butterfly? Who's the messy one? Who works out more? Who requires more attention?
Tyra frequently posted about their happy times on her social media, celebrating their connection. However, just when things seemed to be going smoothly, Tyra encountered another man. They connected rapidly, but she remained blissfully unaware of the troubling secrets he held that would soon unravel her life. 50-year-old Albert Alexander had spent many years married to 51-year-old Stephanie Alexander in their home in Charlotte, North Carolina. Stephanie, who had 5 children from a previous relationship, was starting anew, and Albert took on the role of a loving stepfather, fully embracing her family. However, beneath this outward appearance of devotion, there were troubling aspects of Albert's character. He had a history of questionable choices and impulsive behavior that raised concerns among those who knew him. Over the years, whispers of infidelity and a lack of emotional stability lingered in the background, hinting at a deeper darkness that could eventually contribute to the tragic events that were to unfold. Yet, despite his outward dedication and apparent loyalty, Albert's actions one fateful night would expose a hidden side that contradicted everything he seemed to represent in his marriage. On the night of July 17, 2023, Tyra, an avid lover of the outdoors, decided to break free from her usual routine and visit a local club. Just before leaving, she reached out to her close friend, expressing her excitement about the possibility of meeting someone new. Enjoying her own company, she bought a few drinks and was having a lively time, blissfully unaware that her night would soon take a shocking turn. It was here that she encountered the man who could either be her ticket to unforgettable fun or the catalyst for a life-altering disaster. This man, 50-year-old Albert Alexander, was also at the club alone, seeking his own escape. Their connection was immediate as they shared drinks, danced, and talked for a long time. However, beneath the surface, there were warning signs of trouble, hinting at a fate neither of them could predict. Albert's wife, Stephanie, being mother of 5 who worked various shifts to support her family. He was fully aware of her schedule, knowing exactly when she would leave for work and when she would return home. This knowledge gave him a sense of freedom that he would misuse. So, in the middle of the night at the club, he invited Tyra back to his house, confident that he had the time to pursue this new connection. Unbeknownst to Tyra, Albert was married and living with his wife, 51-year-old Stephanie Alexander, who happened to be away at that moment, leaving him with a deceptive sense of safety for his actions. At this moment, it's hard to say whether Tyra's choice was influenced by the drinks she had consumed or the conversations they shared earlier in the night. She made the decision to go to Albert's home, completely unaware of his marital status and the potential consequences. What seemed like a simple invitation would tragically lead to a dangerous situation. Later that evening, Tyra arrived at the Alexander residence, where she and Albert picked up the chemistry from the club, laughing and enjoying each other's company. As the night unfolded, they eventually made their way into the bedroom, blissfully ignorant of the storm that was about to erupt. However, the night took a horrifying turn when Stephanie unexpectedly returned home around 5 a.m. on July 18, 2023. As she burst through the door, she was met with the shocking and devastating sight of Tyra in her bed with her husband. Consumed by a surge of rage and a sense of betrayal, Stephanie allegedly lunged at Tyra, seizing her and preparing her for a nightmare of unimaginable amount. In a frantic bid for help, Tyra attempted to call her mom during the assault, hoping for a savior. Unfortunately, the call went straight to voicemail, leaving a chilling audio recording of her final moments. The voicemail captured the harrowing sounds of Tyra's brutal attack, filled with cries for help and chaos. Before the unthinkable happened, she was shot and killed, sealing a tragic fate that no one could have foreseen. A voicemail message later found by investigators was never made public, but it suggested that Tyra went through a horrifying ordeal filled with assault and suffering before being shot. At 5:21 a.m., Stephanie, clearly shaken, reported to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department that she had shot a woman in her bedroom. When the officers arrived at the Alexander home, Stephanie guided them to where Tyra's body lay. The scene was heart-wrenching. Tyra was found lifeless on the floor, her body showing clear signs of torture and multiple gunshot wounds, leaving the officers shocked and troubled by the tragic events that had unfolded in what should have been a safe environment. The officers wasted no time in taking Stephanie to their headquarters for questioning, identifying her as the primary suspect in the case. They also spoke with her husband Albert Alexander, who provided his account of what happened that night. After conducting these interviews, authorities charged Stephanie with voluntary manslaughter. She was processed at the Mecklenburg County Jail on Tuesday, July 18th at about 6 a.m. Surprisingly, despite the serious charges, Stephanie was released later that day at 2 p.m. after posting a $250,000 bond. Meanwhile, her husband Albert did not face any charges, even though many believed his actions had triggered the tragic series of events, sparking a debate about fairness and justice in this heartbreaking situation. Tyra Crosby's family, particularly her mother, Tanya Hoskins, was profoundly upset by the events leading to her daughter's death.
Right now, she's charged with the lowest form of murder. I want it up to first-degree murder.
Tanya provided the voicemail evidence to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, CMFDD, and urged them to rethink and elevate the charges against Stephanie Alexander. She was convinced that her daughter had been deliberately killed and insisted that the case should be classified as first-degree murder instead of voluntary manslaughter. Tanya passionately emphasized that Tyra was not an intruder in the Alexander home, as she had been welcomed inside by Stephanie's husband, Albert Alexander. In her view, this fact completely invalidated any claims of self-defense that might be made.
She even said to the 911 caller that there was an intruder. Your husband brought her there. You knew she wasn't an intruder at that time, at that point of time. He knew that him and his wife shared that home together. My daughter was innocent in it. I did see hours before she was led to the house, she was in a sweepstakes with him. We could see it on camera, which was the last video that I saw of her alive.
Hoskins says what happened that night was heartless and a senseless act that robbed her daughter of a future. And Hoskins' demand is clear.
justice looks like for me is that she would get the time that she deserves for murdering my child.
She felt that the circumstances pointed to a chilling, premeditated act rather than a spontaneous reaction. On the morning of July 18, Tyra desperately tried to reach out to her mother for help during the assault, which led Tanya to believe that the entire situation was a carefully planned trap. In the beginning, there were whispers suggesting that Tyra had broken into the house, fueled by her prior legal issues. However, further investigation quickly disproved that claim, revealing that Tyra's visit was not a criminal act at all. Tanya was convinced that her daughter had been lured under false pretenses, which propelled her to tirelessly seek justice following such a devastating loss.
A mother speaking out after a woman shot and killed her daughter in a Northwest Charlotte home last year. Tyra Crosby was 25 years old at the time of her death. The woman charged in her death will face a judge tomorrow. WCNC Charlotte's Jesse Pierre shares more from the grieving mother.
Tanya Hoskins tells me her world was shattered after learning of the death of her daughter. And as she prepares to face the person accused of ending her life, Hoskins says she just wants the woman held accountable. A vibrant life full of promise tragically cut short.
Just was so outgoing, so spontaneous, such a beautiful soul.
The weight of the grief heavy for Tanya Hoskins as she prepares to face the woman accused of killing her daughter, 25-year-old Tyra Crosby, in a courtroom Thursday.
And my body is literally drained to have to go in and face murderers, to actually see her, to see who took my child's life.
After careful consideration of the voicemail evidence provided by Tyra's mother, Tanya Hoskins, on August 3, 2023, the Mecklenburg County Grand Jury indicted Stephanie Alexander for the second-degree murder of Tyra Crosby. However, several questions linger regarding the nature of Tyra's relationship with Albert Alexander, Stephanie's husband. How long had Tyra known him? Did she have any knowledge of his marriage? These uncertainties create a cloud of intrigue around the case, leaving many to wonder about the deeper connections that led to such a heartbreaking outcome. In honor of Tyra, a vigil took place on Sunday, July 23, 2023, at a local park in Charlotte, NC. Friends, family, and community members came together, lighting candles that flickered softly in the evening light, paying tribute to a life that was tragically ended too soon. As they gathered, attendees reminisced about Tyra's infectious laughter, her kindness, and her steadfast loyalty to those she loved.
Coming together to remember 25-year-old Tyra Crosby. She was killed earlier this week in Charlotte. During tonight's candlelight vigil, there were hugs, tears, and memories were shared.
I love you, best friend. Everybody know that I know Tyra, that's my twin.
She was beautiful. Her soul, her spirit, inside and out.
She gonna be our angel on our shoulder.
She always knew what to say, but I am so grateful that whatever God sent her to do, she, accomplished that mission.
Deeply moved by the violence that took her life, Tyra's mother, Tanya Hoskins, addressed the crowd, her voice filled with emotion. She made a commitment to fight relentlessly for justice, promising that her daughter Tyra's death would not be in vain, and that she would seek to honor Tyra's memory in every way possible. Tanya Hoskins spoke with deep passion about her daughter Tyra's dreams and the vibrant life that was taken from her too soon, expressing the immense loss her family now faces. Those who attended the vigil offered prayers and heartfelt support, standing in solidarity with Tanya as she continues her quest for answers and accountability. Tyra Chanel Crosby, who was only 25 years old, was laid to rest on July 24th at the Greater Temple Baptist Church in Charlotte, NC, where loved ones gathered to honor her memory and celebrate the life she lived. Stephanie Alexander faced trial for second-degree murder, a charge that was far more serious than voluntary manslaughter, which typically carried lighter penalties. The decision to elevate the charge indicated the prosecution's belief that while Stephanie's actions may not have been planned in advance, they exhibited a shocking disregard for human life. This stance highlighted the severity of the situation and the impact of her choices that led to Tyra's tragic death. On December 5, 2024, she was sentenced to 60 to 84 months in prison, reflecting the legal system's acknowledgement of the gravity of her actions and the loss suffered by Tyra's family. Tanya Hoskins took to social media, sharing her daughter's story to raise awareness and encourage others to speak out against violence. She emphasized the importance of community support in preventing such tragedies and urged people to pay attention to the signs around them. Through her advocacy, Tanya aimed not only to honor Tyra's memory but also to create a safer environment for future generations, ensuring that her daughter's life served as a catalyst for positive change in the community. In the end, it seems that the unfaithful husband escapes accountability, while the consequences are borne by others. We can only hope that Tyra Crosby receives the justice she truly deserves. What are your thoughts? How much responsibility should fall on Stephanie Alexander for her reaction? Do you believe her actions were planned in advance or more impulsive? Additionally, how critical do you think Stephanie's husband was in escalating this tragic situation? We invite you to share your views in the comments. I'm leaving you with 2 more crime stories that are more shocking than what you just watched. And BTW, if you like the way we bring to you stories or you learned something new today, please like this video and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. As always, remember to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Perhaps someone learns from your experience or advice. I will talk to you again in another video. It's a bye for now.